Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Camping with Wade's RV. Thank you for tuning in every Sunday. We're here from 9 to 9:30 here on Talk Radio 1170. I'm your host, Willy D, joined every week with Carly Rush, and this week I have a very special guest, Miss Brenda Puckett from Girl Camper. So I'm really looking forward to having her on here, talking to her about the RV show. This is her very first RV show she's been to. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Girl Camper, what it means to camp like a girl, and no, you do not have to be a girl to be a girl camper. So,
I have to hear this.
Yes, it's really, really cool. It's a great club. I'm glad they have taken me underneath their wing, and we've been able to do some really cool stuff. We've had camper colleges. We've had different people come out to the dealership to be able to just start RVing. A lot of people don't know where to start.
Sure.
And so we can start them at that very first step. And that's really been exciting. But more importantly, we're going to be talking about the Tulsa Boat Sport and Travel Show. It's the last day to take advantage of these huge savings. I mean, we have RVs that are marked down tens of thousands of dollars. It kind of gets me choked up because I look at the price and I'm like, what? How can you do this? And the reason why we can do that is because we're actually contracted to bring those units to that show. So whenever whenever I pull one of those in, they say, hey, Will, here's an extra, $5, $10, $20,000. Make this special, get this off, sell these things. And so it's really an exciting opportunity for you as a consumer. If you're looking to get into RVing or if you're looking to upgrade your RV, you can really eliminate a lot of that roll off the lot, depreciation right here and right now at the show. And it's just really awesome. I love to see folks take advantage of these deals because I don't see these prices that low for the rest of the year.
And it's going on today from 11 to 5 at Expo Square, right?
11 to 5.
Now, how do they find Wade's RV when they walk in?
Well, it's not going to be hard because I am the very first booth when you walk in that door. And it doesn't matter what entrance you come in. I have different areas and all over the building. But whenever you walk in that main door right by the Tulsa Golden Driller, you're going to be able to see big motorhomes. I mean, we have the big 45 footers. We also have the 20 footers out there, but you're going to be able to see the biggest selection, more importantly, of Newmars and Tegras and all of the different products that we have at Wade's RV. I brought 50 RVs down there to the show. And so there is a little bit of everything out there for you. And it won't be hard to find Wade's because we're going to be shining bright. You're going to be seeing all those great RVs. And if you're looking for the best brands, that's where we're going to have them right there. So we got tons of them out there. We've been selling them all week. And if we did sell the one that you like, we can get you another. So don't worry about that. Don't be scared. Come on out and take advantage of it. And I know those sales managers, they are ready to make deals. And we are only out there until 5 p.m. So come buy an RV today. That's what we need to do. So come on out there and see us. It's going to be really, really exciting. So come on out and see us.
Sounds good. Now, we need to talk to Brenda because what the heck is a queen bee of RVs?
Yes, we do. So today on the show, I am having Miss Brenda Puckett, if you're listening. And if you want to watch, we actually have this video on YouTube. So you can look up the Wade's RV YouTube channel and see all of that great action if you want to see what happens inside a radio studio. But Miss Brenda Puckett is from Queen Bee. She is the Queen Bee of RVs. That is what we call her. But she is also part of Girl Camper. And I'll let her kind of explain a little bit more about that. But I first met Brenda. She actually came to Wade's RV and was doing an RV inspection. And we do inspections at Wade's RV. But let's say you're from out of state. Let's say you don't know what to look for in an RV. Brenda can be your guide and she will show up. She's a level 2 inspector. And so she'll go through, she'll look completely over this RV. If she does see something wrong, she takes really detailed pictures. And I mean, she was taking apart cabinets and a whole bunch of stuff. I don't even know all the different things she checks out. I mean, it's wild, but she is there. So that's how we first met. And then we also got involved. We had a Girl Camper college. And what that was is it's kind of like it sounds. It's a class. And so we went around an RV. And we talked about, this is how you hook up. This is where the propane is. This is where you dump. And I actually gave a visual demonstration on how to dump your tanks. So we went through almost every aspect of an RV at a very base level. And so it was really cool. We got involved with that. And that was my first involvement with Girl Camper itself. And it's just kind of taken off from there. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Brenda and let her kind of explain what Girl Camper is, how she got involved with it, and also kind of what she's experiencing at the show herself.
Sounds good. Go for it, girl.
Well, you said this was my first show. It ain't my first rodeo.
Okay,
I've been to a show before, but I've never worked at the show before. And in fact, this time last year, I walked around just as a consumer like all the other folks are doing and interviewed and talked to all the people that work in the industry and just asked them, what's the coolest job in the RV industry? I come from a real estate background and I was looking for something to give me a little bit more insight and learn more about RVs. I've just been so enthralled with it all, and I just wanted to know more and more. I joke all the time. I asked my personal mechanic that works on my RV if I could be his apprentice, and he always thought I was joking, I think, and he would never take me seriously. Oh. So I walked around asking what was the best job in the industry, and right after the show, I found out about the certified RV inspection program down in Texas. Raced down there in my car, and the rest is history.
Really?
Yes. So I got to, and who knew what was going to happen last year during pandemic and lockdown? Everybody decided the RVing was the safe mode of travel, and it's really extended into this year. So I didn't know it, but my new little side hustle exploded, and I started getting phone calls immediately. What Willy D said is true. People will call me a lot of times from out of state, and they don't want to fly on a plane and come here to find out that maybe it wasn't a right match for them, or if they were buying from a personal owner and not from a dealership, that maybe it was not what it was advertised to be. So they'll hire me to be their eyes and ears, much like a residential home inspection. Before they actually make the purchase, they'll have me come in, and this is very extensive, like what he said. I'll be there all day long. So I got to spend a lot of time with the gang there and introduce myself and kind of make that network.
Now you're stuck with us. You can't leave.
That network connection. So I was there all day, and we'll look at top to bottom. I'm their eyes and ears, and then they can decide. They'll negotiate with the dealership, these buyers will, and then decide if they want to make the drive or the flight to Oklahoma. So that's the Queen Bee part. And of course, I'm Brenda, so I had to name it Queen Bee. So it's Queen Bee RV Inspections. And then I got introduced to Janine Pettit, who is the owner of Girl Camper, and I'll talk a little bit more about them. And I am the representative. I'm a guide. I call myself the ambassador for Eastern Oklahoma for this national brand called Girl Camper.
Okay.
And one of their trademark products is this camper college. What they started figuring out was the dealerships and pretty much everybody in the industry were not really understanding how impactful women are right now. There's a huge women's solo camping movement. And when I say solo campers, it's not, there are married folks, there's divorced, there's widowed, there's single gals, there's everybody in between, and a bunch of these gals might camp still with their partner, but then they also meet up with this big girl camping group.
Wow.
And that's how we got involved. And the industry really wasn't understanding what an impact women were having, what purchases we were making. So Janine developed Camper College to get in there and bring the two together, the dealerships and the girl campers, and say, let's figure out how to communicate.
Goodness, how big is Girl Camper? Is it in every state? Is it all over?
That is a great question. Janine's Facebook group, in fact, she just got an award from Facebook for being, I think it was called a lively and spirited kind of group. It was like a bubbly, fun, really interactive group. Right now, she's reaching 30,000 followers. And it's so interesting. Not everybody on there is a girl camper yet. Some of them are wannabes, like we call them, or newbies, or they're thinking about it. Some girls are starting out camping in their cars or a tent or a van. And Janine has a line that she said, there's no wrong way to camp like a girl. So some of those people will watch and sit there and interact and communicate for years before they actually get into the act of girl camping. As far as are we in every state, another dream that Janine had was to develop this guide position, what I am, a girl camper guide. And we're spreading out all over the country. We're California to Florida, up into Maine, Texas. There's a couple of us in Oklahoma. Ohio. We're all over the place. So us girl camper guides in our states will start being your local expert, and we're developing events and these camper colleges and making network connections and figuring out the best campgrounds and the deals, where to shop, who to trust in the industry. So we're spread out. We're all over.
It kind of reminds me of, there's a group of women that fish that do the same sort of thing.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
That's how I found out about girl camping. It's called Sisters on the Fly. And that is another female group. And in fact, my husband and I stumbled across them when we were out on a camping trip one time, and he was like, these are your people, I'm out. He did not want to camp anymore. And I cried for about, the drive home was maybe an hour. And then all of a sudden I got really excited and empowered. And here we are. I drive a 31-foot Class C motorhome.
Wow.
There are girls that tow. There are girls that drive the big rigs. I saw one at my last Texas event in a big Class A. by herself. And then they tow these big, little vintage ones to the big fifth wheels and everything in between. And we all help each other. It's a really fun, supportive, empowering community.
Well, I'm excited to hear about that because my husband, no, camping is a big no for him. Mm-hmm. I'm interested. Mm-hmm. I love to go out and spend the night in nature and do the campfire thing and all of that. I didn't know there was a group for me.
Well, there's a group for you. And my first event, Miss Carly, and anybody can look this up. I cannot say the exact location, but it is a Cinco de Mayo event. And the reason I'm not saying the location is we like to keep that secure just for the safety of our members.
Yes.
And so you have to be vetted and get into our group. And even men can be vetted, but they have to make it past a very strict and stringent. I'm kidding you.
Did Willie make it?
He did.
I'm a proud member. They let me in. Yeah.
Wow.
So, but anyway, we're having one in May for Cinco de Mayo, and it's going to be all sorts of festivities and the beverages and food that you would think that would go along with Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
So if you want to, and it's kind of close by. So if you want to come out, you could be my guest. And there's cabins usually at any of these parks that we go to. And this one happens to have cabins and a lodge. So that if you aren't going to camp, you can still partake in all of the events that we're doing and sit around the campfire at night and do the s'mores. And
okay, so somebody's listening right now and they're really interested. Where do they go to find out about this?
Girlcamper.com.
Easy.
Very easy.
And there's a map of the United States, and you can find your state and click on, the picture. Mine's in there, and whatever state you're in, and find out how to get in touch with that person for the events. But they have an event calendar that's filling up. It'll be really cool this year.
Great.
And one thing I find is it really is a community. And so whenever you go out there and you're camping, you can go hiking, you can sit around the fire, but who wants to do that alone? It's nice to get out in the woods and stuff and be alone for a little bit, but to go there and actually have a community that not just only supports you, but also helps you and then is also helping you grow. And so there's so many times I'm on there and I've RV'd since I was a little kid, but people put little tips. I call them pro tips all the time. And so they'll say, hey, I found this out. One of my favorite things is I saw the other day, and if you're taking like your steak knives with you, you can take a PVC pipe and then put end caps on it so then it doesn't get dirty or anything during transportation. And small little things like that can make a huge difference to your camping experience because you start finding out these little hacks and then you're like, I'll never not do that again.
Yeah.
And so there's just so much information on there that you can just see and then get involved. And there's Facebook, like we said, it's on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's on Instagram, isn't it? As
Correct.
well. So they have Instagram and they also have a really, really great website where you can get involved yourself. Brenda, how did you, what was your first event with Girl Camper and what made you stick around for more?
Let me think. I'm trying to think where I actually went because they really have just started rolling out their events in the last year. Janine started the company as an educational site because the other female group that I talked about was doing quite a bit of events. And she wanted to be kind of let's connect these people with the experts. And she was on YouTube and she was doing events, rallies and conventions and things like we're talking about, shows. And then it just kept evolving and evolving. And then she's really a digital multimedia platform. There's Facebook and Instagram, like we talked about. The website is gorgeous. She also just launched a magazine in the last year, and it is beautiful. And if you come out to the show, I have copies of it with me. Only for girl campers.
Perfect. Yeah. And so if they come out to the show and you come to the Wade's RV booth, they haven't met you before, they got to ask for Brenda. And Brenda will take you around and show you all the different RVs that we have there. We have travel trailers, we have fifth wheels, we have motorhomes, and she knows a little bit about each of them. And so that way she can help direct you around. And it's going to be kind of like you already know her since you've already heard her here on this radio program. So it'll be really, really great. And she definitely can help you out and definitely get you the best price out there.
Well, and the other way that I met Janine, I almost forgot about this. She's been a podcaster for years, and I was a fangirl. That was really how I first started. And I was driving my little Class C around by myself and started listening and getting tips. And she would interview people like Willie and all of these experts in the industry, and I would make notes and whatnot. So when I posted, I was following the Girl Camper Facebook page. When I posted that I had gotten my level 2 certification, she wrote me back. Or she posted on there, and then I wrote to her and said, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And she wrote me behind the scenes. And once I found out that she was filling some of these positions for the guides, I was all over that. So she said, you've been on my radar, and I got to interview, and the rest is history. I think the actual first Girl Camper event that I went to was in the fall in Nocona, Texas, where they make those cool Nocona
Oh, the boots. Yeah, absolutely.
I knew you were that.
I was like, I wonder if that's a boot company.
That sounds familiar. And that was super fun. I can't even remember. Oh, that one was called Sip and See. So we went around to visit some of the local vineyards there. It's an annual event that my friend Bonnie hosts down there. So they're just everywhere. And the events some of them might be kind of glamping events. Some of them might be about fishing. Some of them might be about hiking. There'll be everything in between. I know quite a few kayakers. Personally, I'm kind of a glamper. I like my electricity.
Yeah.
And, a hair dryer. I don't have to have on makeup or anything like that, but I want to, have some stuff.
Look decent or live a little more comfortably than just a tent.
Yeah, you're not going out there. You're not out backing it. That's one of my favorite lines in the camping community is the glamping. And if you are a glamper, that's one thing that I love is at Wade's RV, we have a full selection. So with having over 30 of the top brands at Wade's RV, we have stuff that's a little bit more basic. But then if you do want the lights and you want all the fancy and you want the heated floors and the power jacks, we have those options for you as well. And so by coming to Wade's, it's a one-stop shop. You're not going to have to go all over town to see, oh, well, here's one brand of travel trailer. Let me go down the street so I can see one more brand. That's not the case. I think I have close to 10 travel trailer brands at Wade's. And so there is quite a bit to choose from. If you like white interiors, we got it. If you like a little bit more of the rustic interiors, we got it. So come on out there and see us. It's just going to be really, really exciting. One thing I was going to ask you is what has been your favorite girl camper moment?
I know what it is. I think about this all the time. When I wake up in the morning and just open up the door and step out, I automatically hear women already cackling around the campfire, drinking coffee and just having a good time. And they're in little batches and I can smell bacon, they're cooking breakfast and whatnot. I absolutely love that it's an instant kind of friendship and fellowship the minute that you get there. And Janine tells this kind of story too. Whenever she first went to one of her initial events, she didn't know how to tow. She asked every girl that pulled into the campground if she could practice by backing their camper
that's awesome.
There, which I thought was so brilliant. And I've seen people do that too. When some girls are a little nervous, they'll say, can you help me? You don't even have to raise your hand. The minute we see you pull in, everybody's running over there to help. So that's probably my favorite.
That's awesome. Yeah, I need to have more girl campers around my campsite. They can back in anytime they want over with Willy D.
And I'll tell you, I hear many girls say, and if the men come over and offer to help, we're like,
we got this.
We got it.
Did you hear that? Oh boy.
One thing, so since you're a RV inspector, if someone was looking at purchasing a pre-owned RV, what has been the biggest thing that you've learned overall about what to look for?
I would say, and I ask this even if it's on consignment, like I'm trying to think, the last one that I did at your dealership might have been a new one. It might have been a brand new one, but even if they're on consignment from a previous owner at one of the dealerships, all the records that they can provide to you, if it's motorized, any kind of fluid changes, if they have a generator, they would be service records for that, tires, the bearings, any kind of records of repairs that they can do. I definitely want them to ask about that. Because I come from a real estate background, I'm always thinking about those big ticket items. And in a home, it's the roof, the foundation. It's very similar in an RV. I want to know, has there been any kind of water intrusion? Have they been taking care of that sealant on the roof? What does the undercarriage look like? Have things been maintained? Are there scrapes? Is it super rusty? Where has it been stored? Those tires, that's a big ticket item.
Oh, yeah. And if you didn't know, talking about tires, so I've always been told the recommendation on tires is 6 years or less. And whenever you're looking at that, did you actually know that there is, I'm sure Brenda knows, but there's actually a date code on the tire. If you're looking, there's a 4-digit code, and that first 2 is going to be the week that it was produced, and the last 2 are going to be the year that it was produced. So you can walk up and you can see it very, very easy.
And so you immediately know how old the tires are.
Instantly. So that's a little bit of one of those pro tips. If you want to know one of those pro tips, you can go over there and check out those tires. Really easy. You can go out. It's the same way on your car too. So if you're wanting to see exactly how to do it, go out there. It was pretty cool. Whenever I found that out, I instantly started looking at tires a whole lot differently. So I started walking around and looking for that. And you made a great point is whenever you are looking at these RVs is look at the big picture, look at the big ticket items, look at the roofs, look at the floors, things like that. I wouldn't necessarily get that bent out of shape if there was a drawer that a handle was loose.
Correct.
Now, I've seen a lot of people that just totally look away from it, and then they actually choose a lesser, a unit that's not going to perform as well just because there was something small. So if you are looking at something that's pre-owned, look at the big picture with it, because a lot of times, we talked about last week, you can save a lot of money on getting something that maybe just a couple years old instead of sacrificing and getting something that might not be as equipped brand new right off the lot. And so we have a great selection at Wade's RV. One thing that I love is if it's less than 10 years old at Wade's RV, we automatically send it through our shop. So it goes through a full inspection, and it goes through a Wade inspection. So Wade is going to have his hand on every single unit that goes out of that dealership.
Now, if people can't come out to the Tulsa Boat Sport and Travel Show at Expo Square today between 11 and 5, and they just want to come out to Wade's RV, where do they find you?
Well, you can come. We're actually going to be closed at the dealership today since it's Sunday, but we are open if you want to come see us at the show at the fairgrounds. And if you want to come see us during the week, we have a couple different locations. I'm really excited about this, but we're opening up a new location out in Goldsby. We're also going to be having a dealership over on Pier 51. So really exciting news. Wade's RV is going to start carrying some boats out there at Keystone Lake. And then we have our original home store out there in Sapulpa. And so we have that location. And my home, I would say, is where my office is over there at the Super Center, which is over on 161st and Highway 75. And you can't miss us. It's a big presence out there. And we have all those RVs. What's really cool is we have the ability where we can plug them in. And so if it's warm outside, we can make sure it's cool inside, and vice versa. So you can have the very best shopping experience ever possible. And if you don't want to get out and see the crowds and you don't want to come out to Wade's RV, you can actually buy an RV 100% on our website. And so you can take advantage of the show pricing.
Neat.
You can shop all of the different inventory, and there's virtual tours. There's even videos. I mean, every resource you could want, we have it on that website.
And I bet you deliver.
We do, yeah. We have the Willy D delivery team. So if you buy an RV and you want it delivered, Willy D will bring it to your door. So
that's great, because that is the new way to shop for vehicles now, which I can't imagine it. I want to actually go get in the vehicle and drive it, and maybe even negotiate a little bit. But there's a lot of people. Is the new thing is to do it all online and have it delivered straight to you.
I mean, groceries, why not your RV? So, I mean, it makes it really, really easy at Wade's RV. You can literally just sit in your lazy boy. If you want, you can just even camp in the driveway. I tell people whenever you get your new RV, try it out in your driveway first, because you're going to see, hey, I might want an extra couple rolls of paper towels. I might want to bring this. And if you want an extra midnight snack, you can just run right inside and hit the pantry too. So that's always an added bonus. Now, Brenda, you were talking earlier about your RV. You have a 31-foot, is it a Jamboree?
Fleetwood Jamboree.
Okay, that's what I was
2006.
thinking. Yes. And does it have a gray and green paint scheme?
Yes.
Okay, boom. Yeah, that's my favorite color too. But yeah, I was wondering if you could actually tell us a little bit about that. I have kind of a photographic memory of RVs. So if you have an RV, and I probably could tell you exactly what you have, and I could probably tell you your truck as well. It's kind of crazy. But tell us a little bit more about your Jamboree and why you decided on a Class C, versus a trailer, that sort of thing.
Whenever Mr. Puckett decided that he was no longer a part of my camping dreams.
Was it really the first time that he decided it's not for me?
No, we had been out several times. In fact, we had bought a 34-foot bumper pole, which is a travel trailer, that just hitches directly to the truck. And we had camped for a couple of years in that. And we own some acreage, which we just recently built a house on. And that's kind of his camping. He doesn't feel like he needs to be out there and see the rest of the world. But I like to go. And I was the one walking around the campground talking to every single one of the campers that were there. And the fateful event that we talked about, we had car trouble right when we pulled in. His fuel filter gave out on the truck, and we just landed there on a weekend. The rest was history. So when he decided that he didn't want to do that anymore, we all know that Brenda Puckett has not ever towed, and that is something at the camper colleges that I'm loving learning from Willie and some of these instructors. He said, why don't you get something that you can just drive immediately and you won't have to worry about backing and towing? He had tried to give me a little lesson on a little flatbed trailer that we had, and it ended up with a lot of crying and maybe some cuss words. So we decided he's not my instructor on that anymore. So I quickly went out and bought a little Forest River Sunseeker, came home with it. My neighbor across the street, an older couple that was, I think they were retired, loved it so much. They went straight out and bought the Jamboree.
Okay.
And I'm not going to lie, I sat across the street and drooled and coveted it for about a year. And I was like, if they decide that they don't want that anymore, Jeff, I would like it. I loved my Sunseeker. I love that thing so much. But the girly part in me loved that silver and green.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's so
you're
beautiful.
saying you're actually saying that you had RV envy.
I did. I didn't even keep mine 1 year. And there's things that I miss about the Sunseeker. They carries Forest River, and it's an excellent brand. But I was so excited to get my hands on that. And sure enough, they decided that they did not have the time for it. They weren't going to do it. And I was the first one that they offered it to. This one has one gigantic living room slide out, and it has this beautiful, I don't know, is it leather? Pleather?
Yes.
Some kind of fun.
Well, that, and I was actually going to say my favorite feature about it is it has that soft ceiling, where it's, it's plush.
It has a soft ceiling. Mine does not have a bunk over the cab. It has an entertainment center. But my favorite part was that living room slide, and it has this huge L-shaped sofa in there. One end of it is a recliner, and one end is a jackknife sofa, and this really long Korean countertop. And we love to cook, when we're out there, inside and outdoors. So all of that. I've had 10 people in there when it was raining before, with camper chairs sitting on the sofa and leaning against the kitchen counter with ukuleles and guitars and just having a ball during a hailstorm when we're out at Grand Lake. Last summer, my gosh, I think we had 8 or 9 of us in there riding out the hailstorm. So it's been kind of fun.
That does awesome. Sound fun. Wow.
Well, it is. I mean, that's what we've been talking about, is how camping is really, it's a lifestyle. So whenever you get involved with it, someone at an RV show asked me, how often do you think I'm going to use my RV in reality?
Yeah.
I said, every chance you get, because it's just something that once you get involved with, you are going to want to go out, and you are going to want to be around your friends. You're going to want to be around your family, because you're going to be getting those memories, and you're going to be gaining those experiences. Our slogan at Wade's RV is turning miles into memories. And that's exactly what you're going to do whenever you get involved in the RV lifestyle and the RV world. And Wade's RV can help you get with that journey. From the moment you decide, hey, I want an RV, come on and see us, because it's not a one-day thing. Like you were talking about with your floor plans and the different things that you like, you're going to see a lot of different things, but priorities is going to be what really stands apart. And so we can talk to you about where you're going. What do you want to do? Because with the towing or the driving an RV, that's a different experience. So if you're trying to go way back in the woods, you're probably not going to take the big 45-foot Newmar bus.
Right.
But we can help you kind of narrow those options down, because we have hundreds of RVs on our lot. So it can be a little bit overwhelming at times if you just walk out there and whoa, where do I start? You just start opening doors. So we're like your tour guide. So we're going to walk you around. We're going to show you the different floor plans, the different RVs that are really going to fit what you described about where you're going, who you're going to take. And once again, what you want to do, and then we're going to start narrowing it down. And I like to play it kind of like house hunters. So, here's 3 options with this, here's 3 options with this, and then you can tell me which one you like most.
Oh,
I mean, it's really, really easy.
Some agonizing decisions, though.
It can be rough, but I tell people, that's where your job steps in. I can show you, and I can tell you everything about these RVs, but your job steps in whenever you have to make that decision. And I can tell you, hey, I like this, I like that. But at the end of the day, it is your decision, and I can't different than the next person and the next person after that. So everyone has things that they're going to do just a little bit different, but we can help you out with that all along the way. So it's a really, really easy process at Wade's.
Carly, we know who's really making the decision when the man and the wife are there.
Oh my goodness, are you kidding? Of course
Exactly.
we do. We just don't always tell you.
Right.
I've met several couples out there this week, all sorts of people that they might be on their 5th purchase. And it's not because they're flippant, just things change. You decide we want to go drive further, or we would like to have like if they drove a motorized and now they would like a separate car so that they can go sightseeing whenever maybe they're at the national parks or whatnot. I've had friends recently downsize from a 5th wheel down to an R-Pod, and it's not always something bigger and fancier. Sometimes people want things that are more simple. I have a cousin that's a van camper. You've heard that hashtag van life. That's really,
I'm a
really
van
popular.
camper. I actually have a conversion van. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Go look
it's
at
super
hashtag
fun.
van
It's
life
super,
on
super
Instagram.
fun.
What a world. Well, Willy D, tell us more about how we can get to Wade's RV. How can we see you today, real quick?
If you want to see Willy D, you want to see this handlebar mustache, there's one place I'm going to be, and it's going to be at the Tulsa State Fairgrounds. So you can come on out there and see all of our great RVs. I'll even walk you around and give you a tour in a couple of them. So we have lots of great options out there, and more importantly, it's the absolute best pricing of the year. It's insane what they got these marked down to. So you can come out there and see us, but you can also come out to Wade's RV at 161st and Highway 75, or give us a call at 918-291-1011. We'll be there, and we are ready to help you get camping today.
He's pretty proud of that handlebar mustache, isn't he, Brenda?
Yeah, it's kind of my thing. And if you see me around town, there might be one on my car as well. So if you want to find Willy D in public, you might see that too.
What about your RV?
Surprisingly, no. I just keep the horns on the Cadillacs, so I don't put them on RVs. But I do have a customer, and he has an Airstream, and that's what he does. He actually has bull horns on it. So I let that go with Uncle Gene, and I just, I stick with the cars. He keeps them on the RVs, and it all works out in the end.
Sounds fun.
It's a lot of fun. And thank you for coming on the show, Brenda. And if they want to find you, they just got to go out to the show and ask for you as well.
Exactly. Come see me, and I'll tell you about Queen Bee and Girl Camper.
Yeah, and if you're a girl and you want to get camping, go follow Girl Camper. Get involved. I'm not even a girl, and I'm a girl camper. I love it. So go on out there and check it out today. Cool.
Good job, guys.
Sweet. Good
that
job,
was
Brenda.
fun.
Thank you.
Oh, we got to have you on again.
Thank you. My gosh,
Feels
that would be
good.
a ball. I appreciate
sure.
that.